Oh my God.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to probably a day I shall not live down. One of which being because it was my fault of why the delay. So I apologize for that. It's not Michael's fault. I always thought we were having technical difficulties, but we're okay. So uh, Michael, try to speak because I tried I muted on your end, but I'm not sure why it's not unmuted. Muting, per se, or not allowing me to mute. Yeah.
How about that? How about that?
Yeah, we're good. Good.
All right, we good.
Oh, Lord in heaven, it's been a day. It's been
All good. We're rolling. We're rocking.
there have been days where I've had the mic off. I don't even know I have it off. Now I don't even remember to put my headphones back into the hearing thing, and then I'm just like, oh.
I know the struggle, man. It's real.
I was
Production.
like, I was using my backup, and I was like, well, this should be working right now. I was like, it's not working there too. So what? Because there's an input feed into my microphone, right, so that I can hear myself to make sure I sound right. I forgot to take it out. And then you're like, wow, I am the old person here. Gosh dang. Anyway.
No, you're doing great. That was a pretty cool intro that you got going there.
Yeah, and, professionalism. Pretty tough.
Pretty cool, man.
Anyway, thank you everyone for coming. My name is Theramoose. I know I'm without the sunglasses, but you know what? After yesterday, I think I'll go sunglassless for a while. So anyway, thank you for coming on, Michael, despite the difficulties.
No worries.
So I saw you were on the Rumble creator thing from this last one, right? The Rumble partnership.
Yeah, I did the first one too.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I only saw the second one. So, how was it?
Yeah, it was a positive experience. You know, I kind of think of myself as an artist first, and I sort of just kind of wandered into streaming.
Right.
And so for me, I'm just kind of open to whatever happens, you know.
Right.
And so the whole Rumble thing has just been a fun creative experiment for me. And I'm just kind of letting it roll, and whatever pops out of it is just like cherry on the top for me.
Nice.
And but for me, it was a really positive experience. I really like Rumble, and I just, as a Rumble supporter, I just wanted to like throw my hat in the ring with whatever I have to offer.
Right.
And so it's just been an experiment. So whatever happens from it, I'm happy with it, no matter what it is.
Yeah, definitely. For many, there's that. I mean, for me, it was sort of like because I do both Rumble and YouTube, because I'm not just streaming to one platform. Just doing the streaming and video making, whatever shorts. I do the shorts as well. The whole thing, actually, it does start off as like, can I do it? Can I not do it? That sort of thing, right? But once you get into it and you find something that works for you, like your art, and me, this stuff, you kind of just like, it's like being able to play the drums after so long, just like, where do I hit it at and all that stuff. And then it's just like, yeah, it works. So I've just been going with it ever since. But yeah, no, thank you for coming on.
Creative process, you know?
Yeah.
It's like
not,
its own
not
art medium.
that I know that any better, but still, I try.
You learn as you go.
That's right. That's right. So yeah,
that's the fun of it.
Yeah, no, it is. And plus, the people you have along the way, right? Like, I haven't counted how many people I've had on, but I'm gonna have close to a whole month's worth. So that's something.
Yeah, that's rad, dude.
Yeah, and so it's been interesting thing, and of course the rest of the week is sort of like, except for Thursday, that's pretty much it. There's a lot of people on that roster, and I didn't think I'd have that starting out.
So you've just been talking and having lots of good conversations with people.
Yeah, well, I mean, I first started out just doing like recorded videos, because at the time, you had that people.
That's how I started too.
Yeah. After a while, I broke down and bought one of their pro packages, which is how you could live stream getting past that 5. And then
right, with Rumble, they had those barriers at first.
Yeah,
minimal barriers.
Yeah,
but still.
And then for the 5, after I bought the pro package, like a few days later, they took away the 5. I was like, God.
Yeah, I still pay it though, because
I
don't know. I'm just like, I don't mind giving some money to Rumble.
Yeah, well, that, and because you get, like, I think for right now on the website portion, you get to put in advance like 72 hours, I believe, as long as you're paying the pro package.
Oh, that's cool.
But right now I can't do it through Rumble. But I found the way around it is I can just set up the stream without setting a schedule date, and then go into the website online Rumble, and then just set the date and time from there, and then that'll get around that spark. But yeah, no, it's been interesting. I've had a lot of different people on, which a big chunk of it being from Mumble and all that stuff, and some not being creators at all. Oh, hey, Tomby. How you doing, Tomby? But yeah.
Hello, Tomby.
Tomby, yeah, I've had him on. Tomby.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's a funny thing, because a majority of people who appear in chat or come in chat, I've had them on. So nice. It's sort of like
building a little community.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't know if I call it community. It's just sort of like this place of conversation and grouping, I guess. The reason why I don't say community is because I've seen a lot of people do the whole community thing, and then there's some that just kind of fall off a cliff and then just kind of jump off the edge and just like, ah!
Uh-huh.
So, living the dream. That's right, Tomby, living the dream. I don't know about me living the dream, but hey, it's working. It's working out well so far, so I'll take it. But yeah, it's been interesting, and I've had a lot of different people, and you never know where it'll go next. So, and I understand why people want a topic. They want, they ask for that sort of thing, which again I understand. But it's sort of like I've always been surprised at where we can go to,
Oh yeah.
especially and especially with, and I'm guessing those pieces that are hanging up are those ones you've done on stream or off camera?
Oh, behind me here.
Yes. Yeah.
This is a painting that I worked on for a long time, one summer, and it's actually I don't know if it's even done. I just haven't had time to finish that. It's hard to get back into a painting after you've spent a lot of time not painting it.
Yeah.
But I like it, so I hang it up here. This one is to my left is by my friend.
Oh, nice.
This one I did paint on stream.
Okay.
One day, a while back.
Right. One day long ago, and a dream.
Yeah, long ago.
Yeah, long ago.
But it's on there. There's probably a time lapse for it.
Right. Do you name your paintings that you do, or you just say like Michael 1, Michael 2?
I do generally name paintings, but there are a lot of paintings that kind of fall into that category where they, giving them a name isn't really that important. It's more about the process that I use to create it, and it's like a recurring kind of like a exploration of that process.
Right.
So, for those, sometimes I just name them whatever, but there are other paintings that get names, different projects,
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm not the only artistry I ever gone so far as poetry, and that was sort of like rhyming. Like most of it is rhyming. Other stuff is just sort of like it's there as a word release, or me trying to be a wordsmith. Not really.
Well, there's no rules, so when it comes to naming things, you get to, do whatever you want.
Right. That's right. I named this rock Stony, and it shall rise above the.
Exactly.
Take that.
Yeah, Geodude.
Yeah. Hey now. You can't change my Geodude's name like that. Come on. So what? What even got you to wanting to do art on Rumble? Because I mean, there's a lot of different forms of art, obviously, but still.
Yeah, I for a long time had aspirations to do video content and streaming.
Mm-hmm.
I remember years ago, I used to work at this cafe in Philadelphia, and I lived in the apartment above in the building, and I had this whole kind of very primitive video studio. And so that I look back, and that was kind of the seed of it, but it never really flourished. And I was also at the time very demotivated because I really felt like when it comes to YouTube, at least, I felt that, why am I going to spend a bunch of time on this platform and risk that one day they might just delete me or something if I say something wrong, according to them. And so that kind of undercut my motivation to really see it through. And then fast forward a number of years, I moved from Philadelphia to another city. I live in Salt Lake City in Utah. I moved during COVID. And during that period of time, I had to had to figure out a lot of different elements of my life because I pretty much just transplanted myself from a very deeply rooted community that I had been in for a long time. I had established a lot of relationships and creative networks in Philadelphia. And I kind of just left everything and just kind of uprooted myself and went to another place. Jeez. So I found myself in a much different environment. And I kind of was like, what is my path forward creatively? And when I had moved originally, I had imagined a different circumstance. And then I found myself in a much different circumstance from what I thought I was entering.
Right.
For better or for worse. So it was kind of a tumultuous period, to be honest. And so I just found myself like in a space where I had a lot of time to create myself anew. And I, for whatever reason, got drawn back to that idea of like creating content because it was around that time that I had gotten introduced to Rumble. And that was like during COVID. And so while I'm here, kind of like not sure what my future path was, I did a lot of research into Rumble. Right. Just independently, just out of curiosity. And that's when I learned all sorts of ins and outs of their company and what they were building. Right. This was like a few years ago before they even went public, really. Oh, yeah, yeah. And so I got really interested in Rumble as a company, as an investment that I could put my energy into. So it was kind of like a culmination of things. It was like my creative impulse and drive was meeting this like curiosity in this kind of investment thing. Right. And I decided I'm going to invest in Rumble, and I became an investor. And then, I'm not made of money, so I quickly ran out of money to invest into Rumble. And so I was like, well, I'm still hyped about this idea. And I figured, well, I don't have any money, but I still have energy and I have my creative energy. So I just started making videos. Right. And kind of gave that previous idea of making YouTube videos life inside of Rumble. And so I just did videos for a while. Basically, I was just turning the camera on and then turning the footage into time lapses when I first started. And then I slowly kind of crept my way into streaming, which was a new kind of thing for me. Yeah. And it's just been bit by bit, just like changing things, tweaking things, and growing my little thing that I do. And even today I still have, there's little things in my head where I'm just like, all right, I gotta build this, I gotta build this, I gotta build this. And then just like you keep adding little things. Yeah. So the next thing I want to learn I need to get better at video editing because I want to make like little intros and like transitions and like cool things and like commercials and stuff, but not for products. Right. Like I have this idea that I want to run commercials, but they're not really for products. They're just for like art. Yeah. It's like, hey, here's a message from their sponsors. And it's like me just saying that you should do art. Yeah. Something like that. So I'm working towards that. I want to get the skills to build more video stuff for my channel, but that's kind of the story in a nutshell. Right. No, that's great because I mean, I started with recorded videos on both platforms because like I couldn't stream to both platforms at the time, and then after that it was just streaming. So like I streamed like games, like me playing games, but that was okay so and so. But then once I started hitting on this point, that's when things started to just go. Right. Yeah, you're finding that the conversations are being successful with people, like people like it. Yeah, it's a thing where I still have to go out and run after people or whatever. But the thing of it is, right, is that
it's moving forward. It is, the
Yeah.
energy is there. Like the slide, it's like the slide is there, and all I have to do is slide down it, because again, I still have to chase after people, but the energy's there. And like after the first person I conversed with, like, well, let's see if I can't do it with other people. And it was sort of a slow start, obviously, as always things are. But once it started getting there, it's like, I think March, it was sporadic, but April's been the month of where I've had a person almost every day. I try not to do weekends, obviously,
Cool.
but yeah, but that's always been my aim, in a sense of like, well, not always. After I hit that point, that was my aim, was hitting for the conversations, like,
Yeah.
the likes, followers, donos, they're all bonuses to the whole attraction, which is this, right? Because I mean, how often is it that a content creator that of higher up or whatever reaches out to someone smaller than them on a small scale, right? They're not in any program, they're whatever. They just reach out and say, "Hey, would you like to come on?" And I was like, I can do that pretty easy, and so it's worked out.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I honestly don't even know what content creators do. I just kind of like, I just kind of wandered into this
Yeah.
space, and like I don't know what other people do, but
Yeah.
but I like that. I like the way you describe it. It sounds like it's growing organically.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
yeah, and also I do my PIF stream on Friday, which is Pay It Forward, and that has also helped play into people coming on, right? Like, so the like I think Chad was one, uh, the Heck and the Y is another. Panda Sub, I think, was one also, though that could be just because of geek. So there's a lot of here and there. But the first person who donated to me, the first dono I got, I had that person on here.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was like, for me, it's like, because again, I saw, like, I was telling Panda Subs, like, I saw a lot of content creators who kind of get stuck in their circles, who they talk to or whatever. And I was like, why do they get stuck there? Why won't they talk to people who, or have people on that don't have
Yeah.
high recognition? Because that's the majority of time, is either they have a high recognition or whatever. But I'm like, there are a lot of people who have a lot of different things to say. We can have a conversation wherever it goes. So
Right. Well, that's part of why I wanted to come out. Like, I feel like it's a good way to just like meet new people, and like, we're both Rumble dudes, and just like pop in and see what's up and have a good conversation. I'm not really like one of those people who like stays in their own circle.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very good at kind of just breaking out of my own box, because I think that's an important part of art and creativity.
Yeah, especially if you like go to other places near where you live, right? Like, some artists, they travel maybe to parks, maybe to another state. They, whatever the medium is, they go somewhere else in order to capture an essence of sorts.
Yeah. And you have to be able to say yes to things that are outside of your normal routine.
Yeah.
It's like, that's where new things are. If you just do the same things every day, then you get the same things back.
Yeah.
But if you're willing to just like try new things that are novel, then weird stuff happens.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't say weird, but I've had stuff where it's just like, again, you have the mess ups, but you also have these points where people say something that they probably have ever mentioned on their stream before, or they may have not mentioned before, and it's this weird thing where a conversation can just be a grab of something, and you're just like, I didn't know we could do this. I didn't know we could go there. Because I of course I'm like, well, don't say the game words, whatever. But I'm pretty loose on, like, I give as much freedom as I can before whatever, because I do stream to 2 different platforms because of
right
personal reasons. It's not like you can't curse or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying
right.
that, like a few stipulations, and it's just like minimal, very minimal.
That's cool. It's your platform.
That's right. It's my platform.
Yeah. And, I mean, I'm not really the person that's like coming on the social media to try to ruffle people's feathers or like drive a point home that's going to be divisive or something.
Yeah.
I'm here to like make art and do creative stuff.
Do
you know, like I feel like there's a lot of that out there, and I have my own opinions about things, but it's just not what the medium that I'm creating and the things that I'm doing are about. So I'm pretty safe.
Yeah, no, I get that too, because I mean, I guess I could call myself a content creator now, because I am creating a form of content, which is just basically talking to people, because obviously I think people have forgotten to have a conversation, whether it be a struggle to have one, or whether it be a natural flowing one, whichever it may be. The thing of it is, right, the form of the conversation is sort of dissipated into the I'm right, you're wrong scenario, right, where I'm trying to prove myself that I'm the right one and you're just completely off the board. And I'm like, why? What do you have to prove?
Yeah, I mean, there's I don't need to prove anything.
Yeah. You get it. You get it. But it feels like I mean, there are content creators who have that exact same thought, but for me, it's like you end up seeing, and sometimes it's not content creator. It's just like, if you were to look at Twitter X, right? It's like a mosh pit of just slop.
It's a lot of drama, and I exert energy to stay out of that.
Yeah.
I really don't have any interest in people fighting about stupid things, whether that's like Rumble drama or because there's been a lot of that, and every time I see it, I'm just like, like I don't want nothing to do that. I'm just too grateful for Rumble. How can I be over here complaining about little insignificant things? So that's where I come from, and but even there's drama on bigger scales, especially on X, and whenever I see that stuff, I'm just like, all right, time to put the phone down. There's no drama if I'm like writing in a notebook or just like making a sketch or something.
Yeah, you kind of remove yourself from the situation, which I think some people tend to forget how to do, right? Like you forget how to pick yourself up like the Sims character and just kind of like drag you over. And don't get me wrong, I've seen that drama, and on both occasions, sort of like, for me, there are some things that kind of have to be called out for Rumble, because in order for it to improve, it needs to improve on the things that.
Sure.
Yeah, but there are other people who,
everyone has a role to play. You know,
as Shakespeare said, I can't remember it, but I remember there was something like that. Each of us is an actor on a stage or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. But you get to choose your role. So that's the good thing about this movie that we're playing. And so like on a certain level, you get to choose what role you play. And I'm just like, when there's drama, I'm like, all right, I'm out of here.
Yeah. Why? It's wasted energy at a certain point.
I'm just trying to feel good, you know, like so stay on the things that make me feel good and inspire.
Yeah. It's just for me. You'd be out there with your didgeridoo, just like bringing all the kangaroos and koalas to you. You just
that sounds great. That's a vibe.
Wow, that neighbor guy's doing it again. Tell him to quiet off. But yeah,
for me, it's more like a guitar. They hear shredded. Okay, so probably like, shut up.
You're like in that Wonder Grove, like, good shot, la 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 la. Tell that hippie to quiet down.
Yeah. But I'm usually around people who are pretty cool about it. They're like, they get it.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool too, because I kind of like you say, I kind of look at that space, right, and you kind of just like, why? It almost becomes a psychological experiment at a certain point, where you just kind of, it's like you're the zoo scientist and you're watching all the apes play with each other, like, and Fred didn't like that, And then Marie
Yeah.
didn't like that either. And then so on and so on. And you're just like sitting there observing and just like, wow, they could have solved this by walking away instead of just beating each other's heads up.
Well, that's the thing. All these minor little squabbles have happened 1,000 times
Yeah.
between other people at other
Yeah.
times in other places. So,
Yeah.
if you think about it that way, it's kind of silly.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that people have their positions and they make their points,
Mm-hmm.
and they stand for what they believe in.
Yeah.
So, but I only have so much energy for myself, and so if I find myself, if I'm taking part in those games, then I don't have enough energy to be at the level that I want to be on in my games.
Yeah.
So that's the approach that I take towards like social media.
That's a smart man. That's smart. Throw your phone like a frisbee. Just let it
Yeah,
go. Just
I actually spent a few days. We went to a hot spring nearby in Idaho, and it was like there's not reception, so there's no phones.
Now this isn't like the Yellowstone hot springs, right? This is an actual hot spring you can get into, or no?
This is like a place where volcanic hot water is bubbling out of the earth, and then they have built a whole series of pools and really nice areas for soaking.
Nice.
And it's just like a very luxurious, relaxing thing.
Yeah, because there was a story I read where someone tried to go in like one of the hot springs at Yellowstone, and they learned their lesson real quick.
There are very dangerous ones.
Yes.
But this one isn't. I don't think this one is like so volatile. It's not like that.
Well, the way you describe
Yellowstone's kind of crazy.
Yeah, well, people are regardless, but the way you're describing is those hot springs are sort of like the one in Japan where they have them you can soak into, you can relax in them. I mean, obviously it's like a hot tub. You can't stay in it for too long, but it's something you can get into. It's hot, but it's not like going to boil your skin off. In essence.
Yeah, it's like therapeutically hot. Feels really good, and we went at a really good time of the year with like really nice weather. It was like crispy cold outside, and then so when you get out, it's like there's flurries and snow, and then you get back in the hot tub, and it feels really good. And we crashed in a yurt, so that was kind of cool. It had like a wood burning stove. It was a really nice trip. I got like a lot of rest and relaxation in, and I needed that because going back to the Rumble Creator Sponsorship Program, that was difficult. It's hard for me to be so consistent with streaming with art. So it's been very positive, and trying to meet that bar in that program has forced me to try to branch out. And I'm like, okay, what other content types can I do to supplement what I'm doing? Because otherwise I have to do this 5 days in a row. And sometimes that can be draining. Yeah. Because for me with art, it's like there are some days where I don't want to make art. And I don't want to have to like force it. So sometimes that's a challenge. But it has been positive because it's like forces me to innovate and like come up with new things. Yeah. But after that month, I needed a serious break. And like I haven't actually streamed for like 3 weeks, but I'm about to get back in the groove probably the next few days or so.
Yeah, and that's great that it worked out for you in a sense, because I know, again, you can go back to the whole spiel of drama, but for me it's like when I first thought about trying for it, but I didn't have the required amount of people. But for me it's like after a while, after I thought about it, look what they were requiring, I was like, yeah, but that's very restrictive of what you want.
It's a struggle.
You want 2 hours on Rumble for 5 days for 30 days. That's 30. No, it's 5 days. So it's 4 weeks of 5. That's 20. 4 weeks of 5 is 20 days. So each of those days is 2 hours. So that's about 40 hours total for that. So it's pretty much a full week's job at that point.
Yeah, it's like a part-time job.
Well, full
You're
time
doing
job.
2 days,
Yeah,
2 hours a day.
Oh yeah, 2 hours a day. Yeah. But
So I was kind of treating it that way. I was like, all right, this is my third. I already have 2 jobs, so
Jeez.
I was like very busy. I have like a full-time job, and then I like teach a course at this graduate school that I went to, and then so I'm doing those things already, and I worked really hard to like prep for that month, so I was like got everything out of the way, and then I had to do the month, and then afterwards I was like, I'm going to this hot spring. I'm tired.
Need that rest and relaxation. Yeah,
but I'm good now.
Nice. Yeah, I just once I looked over the stuff they were asking for, I was like, you know what? I feel more freer doing this thing I'm doing now than if I would be in the partner program, which I get why they probably they wanted that amount of time, but at the end of the day, for me, it was just I guess that's where creativity can come from, is restriction, right? Like indie movies,
exactly.
But for me, it's like I still am doing great without that restriction. The only restriction is me, right? Like I have a full-time job too, so doing this,
I firmly believe that you and anybody that's creating content on Rumble can have success without that program. That's just a side hustle thing, and it's cool that they offer that. It did help my channel a lot in certain ways. Like I got more followers during it, but there are downsides like you're talking about, but I also found positives from those creative constraints, because it definitely pushes me, and I made a lot of art that month. So that was cool. It was really beneficial for that kind of like my output, because I'm just painting every day. And so it's just like an added little incentive. So it's different for everyone. And for me, it made sense at the time, just as like a little challenge. And if they invite me to do it, I'll probably figure out a way to do it again. But it's definitely forcing me to find new ways to create content too, though, just so I can mix it up for myself. So I kind of started my own little podcast thing where I talk to people about art, and I do that every now and then.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Because there's a lot of different forms of art, whether it be painting, music, obviously, drawing.
I think streaming and content creation is its own medium.
Yeah, it's an art form itself. It's just a lot of people kind of end up doing the same thing. It's just trying to find that niche and how to differentiate themselves. Because for me, like I was saying earlier, I kind of got tired of just content creators just bringing on people who were stuck in their circles, right? That either there were people coming on that could get them higher up to be noticed or whatever, or what have you. But for me, it was like, what if I took this and just turned it on a head, right? Like I didn't, maybe one day I'll get somebody big, but that's not the goal, right? It's the goal is to talk to just about anyone, and of course,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. Because I know when I first talked to you, you were still doing the partner program, so I was like,
that's why I was so busy. Just everything I just said, I was like, oh my god, I can't do anything.
Yeah, no, and I was like, honestly, that's fine. We'll come back to it later. And we did. Obviously, that's why we're here now. But yeah, it's a journey in of itself, and those was part. It's part of the 2 questions I ask. Well, at least of myself, but like the 2 questions of like, what are you going in for, and what do you expect out of it? Because a lot of people expect some sort of fame, some money, or whatever, and of course, there's a lot of content creators that are humble about it. But those kind of things would be nice, to the sense of like to gain more ground, as it were, right? If that makes sense. But that's the wrong way of going about it, because if that's the first part rather than the second part, like the bonus part, then you don't get far.
Yeah. Well, I feel very grateful that I'm kind of I feel very grounded in my creative practice, and I'm completely content with just making art, and I don't expect any rewards for that, because there's a reason that we're all starving. There's a reason artists aren't rich.
Yeah.
So, historically, the chances are very low that anything happens just for me expressing myself.
Yeah.
So already I'm very grounded in it. I'm like, I do this because it's fun for me. I do it because it makes me happy. It's good for me. It's good medicine.
Yeah.
And so that whole thing just transfers into streaming for me. It's just an extension of what I'm already doing. And so I'm happy for that, because I don't want to get caught in that,
that whirlpool. Yeah.
But if cool things happen, I'm open to it.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. You're along for the ride. But I mean, it's you sort of have to, with you have to steer yourself sometimes, right? Like because you don't want to go like full yes, right? If you go full yes for everything, there's a lot of things you get in trouble with.
Yeah, you don't want to go to like a P. Diddy party or something.
Or you don't like say, yeah, I'll help you steal or rob that bank. Stuff like that. Because there was that movie a long time ago. It's called Yes Man, right, with Jim Carrey, and he was getting gobsmacked by life and everything until he went to that seminar about saying yes, and it's just like there were many times where he was like, no, I don't want to do this, but he was feeling that like life was pushing on him until he saw the guy and asked him. Then it was sort of like the truth be revealed and all that stuff. So
you need a balance, you know. Some people are on one side of the spectrum, other people are on the other side. Like some people have no boundaries and they just say yes to everything, and they're never there for themselves. Other people are very rigid and they say no to everything, and then they miss out on tons of opportunities. So I think there's a balance, and you just have to like be grounded in what you know that you want to do and what works for you. And you make your decisions based off of that, whatever code that is. It's different for everybody, but I feel like I know what I'm doing, so I just kind of steer myself based off of those things.
Yeah, it's like you got the wheel on a pirate ship, like this way.
Yeah.
This way.
I just try to keep it on cruise, cruise control.
Don't do that in real life. It's not going to go well. How'd he die? Well, I think they said he put it on cruise and just let it go. Oh my goodness! But so as an artiste, as the French would say, I'm gonna get a little blasé over here, or something like that. I don't know. I know very little French.
I love the art.
What?
I love saying artiste.
Artiste. The artiste is here. Come and join us. Yeah, come and join us. But as an artist, does your viewpoint have a I would say, is the viewpoint a normal one per se of what people think of as normal, right? Because as an artiste, you have to see the world in a different way in order to capture the essence of what you want to capture, right? Like drawing or whatever. Yeah. So from an artist's perspective, do you see the world, but it's the normality of it is quite different from what you'd say like everyone else or every other or people who aren't artists?
Well, I think everybody can be an artist, and everybody has that uniqueness. It's just some people embrace it more voluntarily, and there have been maybe crucial points in my life where I've had very outside the box experiences or opportunities to view the world differently,
right,
in my own way. And I think a lot of people out there are trying to do the opposite of that. They're like, I want to be normal, right? That's kind of like what they're going for. But I think artists kind of embrace their uniqueness in ways, and they kind of lean into it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would say that I have my own unique perspective. I think all artists do to a degree, even if I'm definitely influenced by very specific influences.
Right.
But even with that, like everybody has their mishmash of what influences them. And so, yeah, I think there's a unique perspective that I see the world out of, and it probably informs my art.
Sorry. So when my camera gets blurry, I have to kind of shut
That's
it off.
okay.
So yeah, and that's the thing for me too, is like I've always had this thought, right, that everyone sort of has their own prism, right? You know what a prism is, right?
Yeah.
Everyone has their own prism, and of course it gets shaped and turned during time because you're influenced by your external, right? Parents, friends, all the stuff, authority, whatever it be. You're influenced by all these things that create a viewpoint, as it were. So like you went
Right.
from the child believing there was Santa to realizing Santa no longer exists. Sorry, children. Sorry. It is what it is.
Right.
But whether you're an artist or not, the point of the matter is that everyone has their own prism, and sometimes throughout life you have to kind of twist it just a little bit in order to like change colors, right? Because prism is to shine a rainbow through per se. But
I think also sometimes people, they construct, maybe there's things that are in their prism that are kind of creating blockages for light, and like certain ideas that they're really attached to, or things that they can't let go.
Yeah.
And that creates a, maybe there's a shadow coming out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, everybody has, I vibe with that. Everybody's got their own kind of, their lens.
Yeah. No, with that in mind, no prism is truly correct. And when I say that, I mean it in the sense of like, we're all in the same ball in different areas with different not perspectual, what's the word, procedural perspective, because it's changing, right? Like, man, some people they have a belief or whatever and it sticks, but sometimes when you get new information or whatever, or information that's not what you've grown up with, you have this ever-changing viewpoint, and so that's why you just that's the prism. You just turn it, twist it, whatever. There's no one side, but like you said, there's also shadows, like a writer's block, right? Like a writer who's just like, what am I gonna write? What is this? And I'm pretty sure you've had blocks yourself as an artist where you're just like, this day, right? I can't paint the thing. It's not coming out. The flow of whatever is not coming out, and you're just sort of like, well, I got to walk away from this for a bit.
Right. And one of the things that I do to kind of counter that is I try to cultivate my energy into multiple things. So like, I like to paint, and that's what I do on Rumble.
Right.
But I also like to play guitar. I do acupuncture and stuff like that. So that's like how I make money. That's what I do as a job. So, but that's also an art for me.
Nice.
So sometimes I just go down that path. I like to write.
Nice.
So I just kind of, I hop back and forth from things. And if something isn't flowing, that usually just tells me that, like if I walk away for a little bit and I go do some of this other stuff, the energy will flow there and it'll refresh itself, and then I'll come back, and then all of a sudden it'll be something that I really need to do. So I think that's a good technique for any artist who's struggling with any kind of block or something, that's what works for me.
Just change the place, or change the
Things.
just change things around a bit. Like it's surprising how much what is that, a location change, right? Not like moving or whatever, but a location change of your inside and now you're outside, and the location has sort of changed.
Even just like changing the lighting, or lighting some incense, or changing the music, all these kinds of things can alter the experience. And I think the environment's really important to creativity.
Does so that also brings up the question of, right, because there are other, creativity and whatnot. What about the mind altering ones? Not medicines, but things taken to
like psychedelics.
Psychedelics, for different forms of drugs. Where, from your perspective, where does that fit in? Because I'm not accusing you of whatever. It's just from that perspective, an artist, right, to change when you have to switch around, or the artistic factor, because there's been a lot of musicians, probably other artists, they've taken a ganja at some point. so you have that in mind, but from your perspective, is that a benefit for an artist, or could that be considered a hindrance, just being on what we know?
I just think of everything kind of like a tool, nothing's necessary. You don't need drugs to be creative.
Right.
Nobody needs that. But at the same time, Timothy O'Leary used to say that LSD is like a microscope. So if you're doing cellular biology, then a microscope's really good.
Yeah.
You're going to need that. Yeah. It's going to help you in your work. So, if you want to venture into like certain areas of visionary art and creative expression, then you might find benefit from things like that. But, I don't like to put it out there that people should do drugs of any kind.
Right.
Personally, even though I myself personally have had really positive experiences with certain psychedelics in my time.
Right.
And I'm always open to speak to my experiences, but I don't like to should people. It's like, you should do this or you shouldn't do this. Yeah. Because everybody's different. Everybody's brain's different. Everybody's in a different place. Like, if you're in a bad place, you should definitely not do psychedelics. Yeah. So, but, I think in the history of humanity, like, the empirical evidence shows that those very specific kinds of drugs have had very potent and beneficial effects for creativity. Mm-hmm. And I also think that there's a lot of modern research that backs that up, like brain scans, people trying to understand what happens to the brain if you take like mushrooms or something.
Shrooms.
And I think those opportunities, those experiences, they create opportunities for you to revisit old ideas. Yeah. It's kind of like you're taking a chamois cloth and you're wiping off the prism. Yeah. It's like, okay, there's some blemishes here. I didn't even know this was here. And then you wipe it off and now it's shining all bright. Mm-hmm. So that very often happens, but everybody's different. I don't advocate for it. I just know that for me, in my time, there have been experiences in my life where psychedelics have been very positive for my creative experience.
Yeah, no, and with the Timothy Leary thing, Timothy Leary helped inspire Tomorrow Never Knows, so, or at least one of his books did. That's a
Cool.
Beatles song, so.
Yeah. The Beatles were all about that time period. What's
Yeah.
going on there?
But yeah, you're right in the sense that it's different for everyone, and you can only speak upon your experience because again, you're the only one who experienced it, right? Like everyone has that when they've, the shrooms or whatever, when they've taken it, no two psychedelia, whatever it's called, is the same.
Well, I feel like people have different goals in their lives. Like for whatever reason, artists throughout time and history
Mhm.
have always lived kind of on the margins, on the edges of what is normal.
Mhm.
They're like the people who like they're trying to understand what's beyond the edge of what we know.
Yeah.
And they kind of see into the shadow realms of things. like
Yeah.
like they're like shamanic sort of figures
Yeah.
in ways. And I think there is a sort of shamanic human heritage that includes mystical psychedelic experiences.
Mhm.
And that that goes with art, because if you're the shaman and then you have that experience and it imparts very powerful and important information to
Yeah.
your worldview, art might be one of the best ways for you to bring that vision back to society at large and then share it with people.
Mhm.
And I think that that's one of the functions of art. And so, but you don't need psychedelics to do that necessarily.
Yeah.
It's just like using a microscope.
Mhm.
You can do science without a microscope. You
Yeah.
just have to do a different kind of experiment.
Yeah.
And so, 99.9% of my creative life has nothing to do with psychedelics. It's me making sure I have my notebook with me,
Mhm.
and I'm just writing down all my ideas,
Mhm.
and I'm sketching out all my little ideas,
Mhm.
and planning what I want to make and writing it down and just making sure I don't forget it.
Yeah.
And it all comes together, because at the end of the day, life is psychedelic, whether you take psychedelics or not.
Right.
So there's like bigger things happening than we can fit into our little reality, whether we take substances that open us up to it or not.
Right.
It's still happening. And so I think art is a way to let that come in.
Mhm.
It's almost like if you want to have a mystical experience, sometimes art can provide that for you. You don't need drugs.
Yeah.
You can just have an artistic process, and then all of a sudden you started with nothing and it sort of grew, and now
Yeah.
you have a thing, and it's like you created something.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's kind of a trippy thing.
Yeah, no, again, that comes back to the whole streaming content creation thing, right? Like if you grow the seed organically, it will be organic. And sometimes, it varies, right? It varies on how one does things, what their aim is for, all that stuff. But I've always had that you know state of mind where having something more organic is probably a better possibility for you, especially in the content creator sphere, than say, your reach trying to be all about a certain, would be fame or whatever, because organic growth only stops when you stop caring about it, right? Or when you
Mm-hmm.
stop having fun with it, or when you stop seeing it as a joy to have. Now, obviously, you've had days where you're like, I don't want to do art, but with the partner program, you had to push through that and say, I got to do something. It's required. So it's just like, yeah. But yeah, I'm not. I mean, for me, when I would have a little poem thing to write down, or whatever, I would have my iPhone, right? Because they would have notes. When
Hmm.
they'd have notes, you type it down or whatever. And I would just jiggity jog. Now there were some I transcribed from a notebook from a long time ago, and I still have the notebook somewhere buried buried amongst my things.
Yeah,
But but to have that, right? To have that thing that's close by you, whether it be a notepad or diary or whatever, you don't lose it,
that's
right?
essential. That's
Yeah,
essential for me.
yeah. Because if you
I have
lose
like
it,
too many notebooks.
where did I? Oh,
Yeah, I have to make sure that they're different colors so I
oh
don't
goodness.
like get confused.
This one is aqua blue, and this one is
For
fire red.
real.
Yeah, it's like the 64 colors of a crayon box. You're just like,
Yeah,
I have to do it that way.
they
So
fill up quick when you get really good at making sure that you write down your stuff,
yeah,
because for me it's like a collage. It's like collaging my life together, and
mm,
you know the ideas are like seeds. David Lynch says ideas are the best things. They're like little seeds of light,
yeah,
and then when you catch one, it's like bait for other ideas,
yeah,
and then they grow and grow and they start to fit together,
mm,
and then something happens where they turn into a thing. So
yeah,
I just keep collaging ideas together
mm,
in my notebooks for forever.
mm,
Like, it was actually really funny because just a couple weeks ago, I've been in a really like laid back notebook phase where I'm
yeah,
not really like making art. I'm just kind of like thinking about stuff and like making ideas.
yeah,
And I was looking at old notebooks, and it's like from years ago, and it was like talking about streaming and like, oh, I'm gonna make a channel and do all this stuff.
yeah,
And then it's really a trip to read it, because then I'm like, oh, I did that. I don't
yeah,
even remember. I don't even remember writing any of this.
yeah,
But it's like, and it's like when I did it, I wasn't thinking like, oh, I'm doing what's in this notebook. It just, like, my unconscious thoughts got recorded here, and then they played themselves out in the
yeah,
world. So
yeah,
I think like writing them in your journal is really important because it reinforces it, and it kind of like plants that seed, and then you go back to it and you read it again. You're like, oh yeah, that's the thing that I want to do. I remember.
yeah. Yeah, that the reinforcement, or some would say affirmations or whatever. There's a ton of different ways to go about it, but when you well when you can record it, come back to it, reread it again, and say, "Man, look how far I've gotten." That's when you just have that
Right.
aha moment, right?
And you can see the progress. You're like, oh, look where I was just like a year or two ago,
Yeah,
and I forgot that I was there,
yeah,
because now I'm here.
yeah,
I did this thing that I was talking about creating, and now it's a thing. So it's very valuable, because I think we forget and we don't necessarily realize
mm.
when we are making progress.
Yeah. That's true. That's very true. But before we go any further, so it's a bit past the hour mark. So every hour on the hour. Ooh, oh yeah, nice face. Every
Oh,
hour.
sorry. Yeah, I gotta plug my phone.
No, you're fine. So every hour on the hour, I set aside some time so that we can promote ourselves. Now, obviously, your stuff is in the description, but still, go ahead and do your end. And once you're done, I'll do mine. And
Oh, sure.
if you'd like to continue, we can. If not, that's fine. But we'll
Yeah.
talk about that after the fact. So go ahead and promote your stuff.
Okay. Well, my name is Michael Keane. I'm an artist on Rumble, and you can follow my channel on Rumble. It's called Making Art. No spaces, just Making Art.
Okay.
And you can also follow my user profile. It's Michael Keane Art.
Mm.
And I'm also on X. That's the same. It's Michael Keane Art. And so, yeah, follow me on Rumble. Follow my art thing. I'm also going to be in the future making another channel, but I haven't made it yet, so I'm not gonna. We don't need to worry about that yet.
Yeah. All right.
And
Here's what it is.
I also have recently published a book. It's a book about herbal medicine, about COVID.
Mm.
So I'm an acupuncturist and an herbalist, so I wrote this little book for herbalists to learn how to treat people with long COVID, which are basically just like lingering symptoms from COVID and the COVID vaccine.
Right.
So that book is called COVID, a modern form of GU syndrome, GU syndrome. So I just published that. It's a little book out. I'm going to be writing a lot more books. That's kind of like another thing that's popping off in my creativity. Nice. So yeah, that's what's happening. Thanks for that opportunity.
Yeah, and no, you're welcome. It's always it's always that cross pollination stuff. But yeah, and I just, of course, I showed the making art one, and of course, your links are in the description below. So if anyone wants to check them out,
cool.
Go look at the making art or making art, sorry, and then go down to the description and kind of go there. Give them a
check them out.
Yeah, check you out. More like not check me out. You said yeah.
Check me out.
Check it. That's it. There you go. That's how you sell yourself. Check him out. Look if he sees look and see if he's worth your time, and if he is, give him a like and follow, because the dude has put out some stuff. I did see some of your stuff during the partner program, so it looked pretty nice. But
thanks, bro.
Again, I have a lot of people I follow, so it's like I can barely keep to one. And when you create your own content, it's like it's hard enough to watch someone else's stuff, because you're like,
right.
Because I'm doing almost a person every day, and after that, I'm like, I'm done.
No, for sure.
I'm tired. I'm done.
It is positive though. Sometimes when I go on other people's streams, I get so inspired. People are doing such cool stuff with their streaming setups, and whenever I do go onto other people's streams, I usually come away with like a really cool idea. I'm like, wow, these guys are killing it.
Nice. Yeah, I'm bare bones. I am not those people that have the super nice cameras or whatever. I'm basically bare bones.
I'm with it, man. The cheaper the better.
Yeah, I mean the post-it notes on the wall here are from people. The red is membership, and the other colors are people who've donated. And so I can't remember who, but someone said like I needed color on my wall, and I was like, well, I guess. And then there was a content creator I saw that would put like memberships, gifted subs or whatever on the wall as sort of like a thank you in a sense or whatever. And I was like, well, that'd be nice. And then all of a sudden, like, but then add on to the fact that my wall would have color. So it's like
exactly
2 birds with 1 stone. I was like, yeah, this could work.
Exactly. Just getting ideas.
Yeah.
Little ideas. Keep adding them up.
That's right. All right, and then I gotta do my stuff. So,
cool.
Okay. So I stream to YouTube and Rumble, or Rumble YouTube, whichever one, at Daramuth, and I've been doing that for I think close to a year now. I'm probably at 9-10 months have I can't remember. But anyway, the point of the matter is though, I have a fan account on Twitter X. I have a Discord, but that's mostly for DMing. I also have an email, which you can see at the bottom here. But there we go, right there at the bottom, right there. Again, if you want the same opportunity as Michael here, Mikey, as we call him, you can go to one of those 3 places and DM me at the Twitter X fan account, the Discord, or email me at my email, because again, I offer the opportunity to just about anyone, right? Because you never know what you'll get. You never know what you're talking about, and that's the surprise of it all, because I think there are a lot of people again who forget to have a conversation or don't know how to. And if they see how it can be done, maybe they'll be inspired, or maybe they'll just enjoy the conversation spoke between the people themselves. And so that's why I do this. I've said before, and I'll say it again, if I had 1 million people, right? If I just had 1 million people, right, I'd have content for the rest of my life. Now, not saying that's something to live on, but when you think about it, right, Rumble is connected to millions of accounts. YouTube is connected to billions. I have access to 2 doors that can go a long way. It's just, will people accept the doorway, right? They accept the path through. So again, you want to get in contact, fan account at Twitter X, Discord, or my email. Any of those three? If not any of those three, then leave a comment in any of the videos, and I'll try and get back to you. But again, I offer this to just about anyone, so don't wait, because
Do it.
I waited a long time to get started, and I'm not saying it was a late thing. It was just like a fear thing, right? Because you never know. I've had people come on saying, I don't know, I don't know what to talk about. I don't seem cool or whatever. I'm like, I don't care if you don't seem cool. The point of matter is you're having a conversation. That's the important part. Everything else just falls into place, like, well, I don't want to say Jenga, but like a puzzle, right? Everything falls into place like a puzzle after a while. So, but anyway, so I don't know if you're able to continue on a little bit.
Yeah,
If you
we could keep chatting if you want.
okay, because I usually kind of, some people can only do an hour and they're just kind of like, I gotta go, and that's fine. So, um, but yeah, it's the it's still the offering of that ability to come on. It's just it's like I'm like I'm fishing, right? I'm fishing for, tossing out the fishing line or the net, whatever, and
Yeah.
sometimes I get a few fish, and other times it's like, what's this old boot doing here?
Right.
It's like, dang it. But yeah, the enjoyment is in the people themselves, and I've had Rance on, which I think he was part of the Rumble program. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't part of the program, but he was like, to find your thing, right? To find your care, as he would describe it. And I'm still trying to find it a bit, but I think for the most part, I found the majority of it, which is having conversation with others. Because I did gaming. I've done like trying to do like movie reviews or whatever. It didn't really pan out well. But having conversation with others, it always is a surprise, because I never know where we're gonna go. It's like
Right.
it's like you're on the Apollo mission to go to the moon, and then you end up at Pluto. It's like, what the hell? What? Where did we get?
It's very similar with art sometimes.
Yeah.
A lot of times I make a painting and I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah, you just draw a line, and you're like, what can we make out of that line? And you just keep going at it.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how I started with painting. It's just doing random things, and then like if you don't know what you're doing, you can't really start with the plan.
Yeah, no,
So I embrace that.
Yeah, so like if you don't know anything about editing, you kind of just like either watch someone how they do it, or try to learn at least how to use the tools, right? Because that's the important part, how to use the tools.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's sometimes you have to start somewhere, right? You have to start at
start somewhere.
Yeah,
it's an experiment.
Yeah, it's an experiment. As long as it doesn't get you hurt or anything like that, that's the point, right? Don't do anything.
Don't huff the paint.
Yeah, don't become Dr. Frankenstein. All right, just don't do it. It's alive.
Don't eat the paint, bro.
It's made out of lead, bro. Put it down. Mr. Whiskers is back alive. Yeah, but no, when you give yourself enough freedom to experiment, you can sometimes you'll be disappointed because you're not, like, you're just wandering in a field, right? Sometimes you can be surprised at what you find. It's just what are the personal risks you're willing to take to get there? Not any danger, but sort of like, because things cost time, things cost money, that sort of stuff.
There's really two kinds of people in the world creatively. Mm-hmm. There's people who can experiment endlessly and just come up with 8 billion ideas.
Yeah.
And then there's people who can't really do that as well, but they can hyper focus on something.
Yeah.
And just like single vision it. And everybody is a mix of those two things. Mm-hmm. And I'm naturally like the divergent thinker, where I come up with like 8 billion ideas all day and I can't stop it. Yeah. And that's great. But the challenge is that then, you have to finish things. You have to complete them. Yeah. You have to you got to focus in for long enough that you can turn it into maturity.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of artists have trouble with that. Like
Yeah.
they just bounce around between a billion things, and it's hard for them to focus.
Yeah.
But then on the other flip side, you know, you might talk to some guy, and he's like working at a bank, and he's not coming up with a million ideas. He's just like single-minded, focused on something, and he needs to like break out of that a little bit. So everybody needs a little balance.
Yeah.
The Rumble thing helped me. Like, it was like, focus in, bro. Like, you got to this is what you're doing right now. Don't be bouncing around all month.
Yeah.
So it was a good balancing thing.
Yeah. And obviously even balancing when you get older is sort of like walking a tightrope, hoping you'll make it to the other side, but it's still like you're still gonna fall off once in a while. So balance is key, but balance is almost impossible.
Yeah.
What was that again? Yeah, it's almost impossible. But anyway, you're like
just do your best to harmonize.
That's right. There you go. The yin and the yang right there. Just kind of clasp it. But yeah, I know there are things that like to draw in more, maybe, I don't know. But for me, from my end, it's sort of like I've always been in the essence of like, if it works well enough for me, I'll just use it. Like I used StreamYard for a little bit. That was for just recording. Then I used OBS for a while, right? That tool, and it was fine. But then when Rumble Studios came out, I was like, let's look at this, because I didn't want to pay for StreamYards, right? StreamYards, they have a free part, but at a certain point, if you want to stream to more than one place, you need to pay.
Yeah.
So I was like, I didn't want to do that. And I said, well, Rumble Studios is offering this different thing, so let's give it a try. I got in on the beta when it was still beta. And I still have issues now. But for me, it's like, this quintessentially has made it much easier in the sense of slide a toggle over to add YouTube. I already have my intro, outro videos in the wait. Boom, boom, done. Does it solve its issues? Yes. Oh, hey, Nibs. Yes, no sunglasses. We had technical troubles, and I was
What's
like,
up, Nibs?
we had technical troubles, and I was like, forget it. I ain't doing this.
I really like Rumble Studio. For my normal art making broadcasts, I still use OBS because it has a lot of customization that I can tap into, and I got it all set up on there.
Yeah.
But I've been doing like podcasting type stuff where I'm having conversations, much like what you're doing right now with me.
Right.
And Rumble Studio is like perfect for this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a plug and play. You don't really even have to do anything. And so I've really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I know. Again, it still has issues, but hey, Toasty, on YouTube. Hey, Toasty.
Toasty with the mosty.
That's right. She's the host with the most right there. And she has her own show too. But yeah, I know the gamers, gamers can't do it right now. It's not great for them. I know, like you said, they don't have all those options for layout and stuff. But at the end of the day, for the simpler matters, it streamlines. Because I mean, with like StreamYard, right? You still have to enter in some stuff if they're not already connected or whatever, and you just have to boom, done. Or boom boom and all this other stuff. But with Rumble Studios, now obviously you had the camera issue earlier, which is you couldn't use your camera straight from the thing. Hey, what up, UB?
Which is weird. I've never had that issue before, but I'm gonna have to mess around. When I
was on Lumpy's stream, right, I couldn't be seen, but I could be heard. So, and I was trying to do from my camera, and I kept going in, out, and it still wasn't changing. So I know what happens. It's happened to at least one or two people that have come on. So there's that issue, but I can't. Rumble Studios, the crew who works on Rumble Studios asked if I could like capture something or see if what's going on. I'm like, I can't. I'm not being invited on other people's streams, so I can't capture that end. But I know it does happen, so I at least let them know.
Well, what I experienced is that when I was when I joined up, and it gives you the option to choose your camera.
Yeah, it shows you.
Like I chose my camera, I gave it access, and I could see myself.
Yeah.
But then when I joined the room, it changed my camera to the OBS virtual camera. Yeah. And then it won't let me switch back to my other camera, which was really strange.
That doesn't make sense to me at all, because I was like, okay, because I had to, at the end of it, I was like, well, OBS virtual, let me try that, and it seems like you would have to use OBS virtual if you can't get into the regular way, and of course I don't know how to tell them more than just words, because they kind of need the physical, right? Because these are tech people, right? Tech people need as much information as possible. They need as much information as possible, as much as you can give them, and go from there. There's a lot of people who complain about the Rumble UI or whatever, but they never give enough information. Like, Rumble UI sucks. What of it sucks, right? You're just giving this spit in the face thing, but you're not giving it any more information after that. And that's what I think some creators or people, whether it be creators or not, they need to be a bit more descriptive, right? If you want to help the platform.
Props to Rick.
Props to Rick. It may have been a lot different back before Rick, but right now Rick, they just released the algorithm thing too, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
So when that gets better, videos, recorded videos, right? Recorded videos and shorts, right? I know a lot of people have been banging on the drum for shorts, but it's like, I can post shorts, and I have enough people where those shorts are seen. I'm getting views, but the issue should be is that they don't have a discoverable way of being seen.
Yeah.
And so when that recommendation engine comes in, there you go. You don't need the same thing as YouTube. You just need to be seen. And that's it.
All that's coming. You know.
To some degree, yeah.
I think they're gonna give us any tool that we need at the end of the day. You know, like it will get developed. It's just that, like, for me, I'm like, no matter how long that takes, I don't even really care, because at the end of the day, my foundation is taken care of. I'm like, maybe I don't have the discoverability, but I know that I'm not going anywhere. I'm solid here. Yeah. You know, so that feels good for me, and I'm just ready to just ride the wave. And whenever these features pop out, I'm gonna be like, all right, cool. I'm already riding the wave. So
yeah,
let it ride.
We've already got Raid. I haven't used it yet. I just, whenever I'm done with the stream, I'm like, I'm too tired to keep.
Yeah, too tired to raid.
I'm too tired to raid. But no, it's great we have that, and I think gifted subs is a talking point right now. I know when I had Panda Sub on, stuff like video resolution was an issue that still, people want, which I hope it gets looked at least by Rick and crew. And also customer service on Rumble End is kind of 50-50 right now. And a lot of people were having issue getting their pay from the partner program.
Right. I think that's my biggest kind of annoying thing.
Yeah. And I've said time and again, it's like, as long as it keeps being a problem, I'll keep bringing it up, because a creator's pay, as long as they've hit that threshold, should not be messed with, right? Like,
I just want to get the money so that I can buy more Rumble stocks.
Yeah.
You know.
Why would you
I'm trying to give it back to you.
Don't hold this man back. Don't hold this man back. Look at his face.
Give me the money. I'm trying to give it back.
Be like, what's that one movie? Show me the money. Show me the money. Jerry Lewis or something like that. I can't remember. Or Jerry Maguire. Sorry, Jerry Maguire. But yeah, it's sort of like, I get, for me, and I've said before, is that I get if there's a small group taking care of customer service, I get that. But at the end of the day, creator pay is a non-negotiable issue. It should already be in your hands within a reasonable amount of time. Whatever the time they set it to be, right? Whatever the time, once a month, whatever it may be, once they hit that mark that you've given them a requirement for, they need to get that pay. This is not negotiable.
I totally agree with you.
It's
Money's important.
For me, it's a big red flag. It's a big red flag concern. And if they keep ignoring it to some degree, then the issue will be keeping people on here. And that's a big one.
I did find encouragement that recently the CEO responded to someone.
Yes,
and
Glitch.
Was like, I'm gonna take this on.
Yeah, Glitch Dad Mode had brought that up, and Chris had finally responded and said, "All right, I'm going to get it done." And people the day after, a lot of content, the partner program people, they got their pay, but that should not be the case. Hopefully that takes care of the whole brigade of it, and we don't hear any more about it, or maybe one or two, very rarely. But if I still keep hearing about it, I'm going to say something about it because this is a no-no. This is a no-no.
It's important.
Yeah.
Because people are building their businesses.
Yeah.
And so it needs to be a solid system, but I think it'll improve. And I also, the other thing related to that I hope they change is I would really love to have a third option for how I get paid. I don't want to get paid through PayPal, and so I've been getting this weird Canadian check in the mail, and it's like it was cool at first. I was like, oh, check out this check from Canada, and every time I bring it to my bank, they're like, oh God, like what the hell is this? How do we cash this? They don't get it. They don't like cashing Canadian checks. They give me shit every time I go there. Okay. And so I would love if they integrate some kind of third-party software that is an alternative payment processing that is like shares values with Rumble. Like same values. They're not going to cancel people. They're not going to censor people. Same values. They do processing for payments and then like have that as an option. I know Dan Bongino is like developing some kind of software for that. So I'm hoping, I don't know if this is going to happen, but I would love if that becomes the option at Rumble, because I would immediately sign up for it and then just get paid through that.
Yeah, Chris was on the quartering stream a while back, and now he was asked a question like, there's only PayPal or check. He said we're looking at other options, right? However long it takes, I don't know, because is a legal thing, is it a finance thing? You never know how those things go.
Right.
So that may be some time, but yes, they need to have
that would be huge.
Options. Yeah. Well, if not that, then just move your ability to get paid check-wise in America, right? Because they have a Florida one, they have a Canadian one. Just move that part to America, and it will be easier.
I also think it would be cool if once you hit the threshold, you can just like press a button or something and just get it out.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's always, even with that, I'm sure there's like a waiting period, like a few-day waiting period, because like if you're on Cash App or Venmo, they have like a 2-day to 3-day waiting period. So I can see that being the case if that happened. But I do know there's a cash out option if you choose PayPal. It's just like you said.
Oh, right.
Not many people like to use PayPal, which is totally understandable. It would be nice if they could have their own Rumble Pay in essence, right? It could just come directly from Rumble, but I don't know the financial part. I don't know the legal part. I don't know what they would have to do to make that happen. It'd be a lot of think tank stuff, and this is
I'm just waiting for the Rumble Check Ferry to just deliver my.
And they're wearing. They're having a hockey stick and they're wearing a toque. Come back, Ferry. Oh no, you're not getting it this time. Don't even try. Just go. Just keep going. But yeah, for me, it's like I don't if they have a headquarters here in Florida and they have a headquarters in Canada, why not just switch all that stuff over pay-wise to the Florida one, and then it's easier for America to get paid,
Yeah.
or American people? Because I'm not sure how it works internationally, because right now it's just, Brazil being blocked and all that stuff. But it's sort of like something needs to change. My thing is first, creators need to get paid.
Yeah.
That needs to be taken care of right off the bat. Whether
Important.
there needs to be a rewrite of the rules, requirements, whatever, that needs to happen, and then we can get into different paying options. Like it's just one thing after another. Like Panda was saying yesterday, they need to be focused. They need to get like you're talking about being all over the place, and then on the partner program being focused. I'm like laser focused on that. It kind of seems like Rumble's scattered brained, and it needs to be a bit laser focused on those things.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I get the trying to get stuff out like raids and whatnot, because again, we have a lot of people coming from YouTube and they want the YouTube experience. However,
Right.
why would you want YouTube on a different platform? You want the tools, don't get me wrong, but they have to be done the Rumble way.
Right. And I think that's a strength.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they need to lean into their own culture.
Yeah. Because I mean, right now I've seen some content creators like coming, streaming to Rumble or whatever, and they stream to other places. And like, they should just copy and paste YouTube. And like, that's not how that works.
No, I don't. I'm on here because it's not YouTube.
I stream to both platforms because I'm somebody who is of the mind of the don't put all your eggs in one basket scenario, right?
Yeah.
You gotta, as a content creator, is it about the platform or the creator? Because if it's about the creator, then you need to create a safety net. Now, do what you will. I don't care. I just find that a lot of content creators stay to one platform, whether it be Twitch, Kick, YouTube, Rumble. You're creating yourself a sinkhole if something happens, right? And if you were able, it's not like an Alex Jones scenario where everyone took him off or whatever, or almost everyone, but it's a matter of fact of like, is it about you, the creator, and your works, or is it about the platform you're on? Which is more important, right? Which are you choosing?
Yeah. Well, I think it is about the creator. But for me, whatever kind of arithmetic took place is that the platform which best reflects me as a creator, just turns out to be Rumble.
Yeah.
And but I think everybody kind of makes those calculations for themselves, right? And it felt like for me, I mean, I'm kind of doing this weird thing with art. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, all right, I'm an artist. I'm supposed to do things that don't make sense.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I know this is the proper business move, like be everywhere. I should be on TikTok too. I should be blasting myself on everything. But I'm like, it's like avant-garde, man. Rumble is the underground arts on Rumble.
Yeah, no, and again, it's like you do what's best for you, or what you believe is best for you. I'm just speaking on a perspective of what I see, right? Because there are a lot
and I think you're right.
Yeah,
I agree with you. From like my logical, my logical brain is like, yeah, that's the right thing to do.
You don't have to agree with me. It's okay. I understand. It's okay.
No, but I do. I do agree with you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
it. Logically, I agree.
Yeah. I just speak on that perspective because, again, when Rumble was getting hit with that DDoS stuff, right? Or when they get whatever, stuff was starting to slow down. And if you were, let's say this, if you rely on the money made on the platform you're on, the singular platform, right? And they demonetize you, they put you on suspension or whatever, you don't earn money during that time.
Yeah, it's a problem.
So why? And they tell you, and in life, they tell you should have several streams of revenue, right? Wherever it's coming from, whatever, just as long as you have more than just one. And that's something that even in life, if you're willing to, you would kind of need to anyway. So why would you treat that in a differently on a creator thing? And again, I get the praise for a platform, right? They do you right, whatever. But the issue is if the one platform you're on, right, either goes down or you get demonetized or whatever, guess what? You're peddling in an ocean, and you better start learning how to tread water.
Right.
So, but that again, that's yeah, that's just my perspective. Again, you do what everyone does what they will, they for what's best for them. But at the end of the day, once you sit down and think about it, if you want to reach more people, that's how you do it. If you're someone who's going after the money factor, that's how you do it. I know a lot of YouTubers stay with YouTube because of all that money stuff, but YouTube is Google. You really want to trust that for a very long time?
I don't trust YouTube. I do have a decent trust for Rumble. I think they got their heart in the right place.
Yeah.
There are outside threats.
Yeah.
For Rumble, that can happen and maybe be outside their control.
Yeah.
So those are risks.
Yeah.
I can only speak for myself. Like everybody's got to do what's right for their journey, and for me, I feel very blessed because I've always been in a position where I'm creating because I love it, and I don't rely on my art for for making money. Whatever I make on Rumble, whatever I make from my art is just extra on the side.
Yeah.
And so that gives me, I think, a lot of freedom with it, with the choices I can make. So, it gives me the ability to make choices that maybe aren't the most business-minded choices and the most logical choice, but it allows me to make choosing Rumble for me as my main platform or my only platform is it's more of an aesthetic choice than a logical business choice, because it's sort of if I think about where my art feels the coolest to me, I just think, oh, Rumble.
Yeah.
So it's just it's a personal aesthetic.
Yeah.
And those kinds of decisions don't really go with sense or rationality, or it's like choosing to make art in a certain style.
Yeah.
It's this isn't a logical decision. This is just what feels good and what makes my art practice more resonate with some kind of inner authenticity for myself.
Yeah.
And so I sort of voluntarily sacrifice these other areas of opportunity just to be kind of a avant-garde underground.
Yeah, there was
in my mind at least. Probably not.
And again, it just comes back to do what's best for you, because at the end of the day, it's about your works, right?
Yeah.
Your works that you enjoy doing. So
all my friends are on Instagram. All my art friends are on Instagram.
Yeah.
They're addicted to Instagram. They don't know anything else. That's the environment they've grown up as artists in. They kind of became programmed for it.
Yeah.
So it's you make art, post on Instagram. That's how you get traction. That's how you get views. And for a lot of people, it's very beneficial. But I like going on Instagram, and people probably don't like me for this, but my Instagram account, I pretty much just go on there say Instagram sucks, and then like I'm like, go on Rumble, you know, I'm on Rumble, you know, this is the real shit, you know, this, I do that kind of, and then you know, needless to say, I don't get a lot of traction on Instagram, but I also gave up a long time ago to try. So I just kind of use it for fun. It's like jokes for me. It's like you know, I just like, I don't even really care. I'm not like a platform warrior or something, but I do make those jokes, and I try to get people from Instagram to come onto my Rumble, and you know, I've had a few people. I've had a couple of my Instagram artist friends, you know, either come on for my podcast or just a few of my friends popping onto my stream. But it's hard. People really are addicted to what they know.
Yeah.
So, you know, but that's what art's all about. You know, people grow up with a certain music style. It's like my parents grew up, and what music and good music was to them was very solidified, and they listened to all the oldies, you know, and then our generation comes along, and we got all this newfangled music, these new sounds, and they're like, this isn't real music, and like those artists are choosing to make those aesthetic choices because that's what feels good or feels right to them.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe it doesn't appeal to that audience. So I see myself as kind of doing the same thing. You know, it's like everybody's all addicted to the way Instagram is and showing their art through that platform.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm on this other thing. You know, I do it over here. It's a different sound, and maybe one day you'll get it. Until then, I'm just gonna be telling you, come over here.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like a chunk of people I've had on come from Twitter X, right? But then I've also had people come from my PIF streams or the result of my PIF streams. So I've had a mixture of where people come from or whatever. But at the end of the day, though, I can't. You know, I don't have Facebook anymore because that's like old hat. You know, Facebook has started to become the MySpace of social media at a certain point. So it's
that is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
It's like, you know, whatever his name is not the friend to everyone, but Tom was a friend to everyone.
Tom was a good guy.
Tom was a good guy. He didn't say a word, but he was a good guy. You could
That's
see
what I liked about him. You know, like the less I know, the better.
Hey, Tom, what do you have to say? That's right, Tom. That's right.
He was just connecting people. He wasn't inserting any stuff into it.
Yeah, and he sold MySpace for like, I think like $1 billion or so. I can't remember who he sold it to, but man, he made out rich, and I'm like, good for you, bro.
He got out just at the right time.
Yep, because right now it seems like it's more Twitter X. That's the big one. Because I know, you know, Facebook and Instagram are kind of part of the same thing, but it feels like Instagram's still up there, but then you have Facebook. It just feels like old hat. It feels like, meh.
Yeah, Instagram feels old hat to me too.
It's like that.
I just don't. I don't feel like it's been good to me. I feel like, you know, I joined Instagram a long, long time ago, and I consistently posted my art on there.
Yeah.
And I feel like Instagram was built on the backs of artists. It started as a place for artists, basically, to post pictures, post their art. You know, then it got bought, it got changed. They turned it into like TikTok 2.0 kind of a thing. It's all about reels now, which, you know, that's fine, but it's not the same place that it was for creative people. They don't value the people who are contributing the content. I feel like the way that, like, it used to be central, you know, I was on there because there were people that I liked on there. And now it just feels like it's like really repetitive. I see the same things over and over and over and over again. There's really nothing new for me to consume on Instagram. Like I've seen every picture, to be honest. Like I've followed every artist. I've seen every picture that's going to be posted on there, and now it's just playing on repeat.
Yeah.
And the artists aren't getting like paid really. Like if you have a really, really big following on Instagram,
yeah,
maybe you can monetize that somehow. But I feel like for like a little guy, like a small creator on Instagram, you're just kind of like feeding the machine, you know, with your energy, and there's nothing coming back for you. I get nothing but bots when I post something on Instagram. I get like, as an artist, it's like, oh, look at my piece of art. And then I get like 7 people comment like, can I buy this as an NFT? You know, like all these NFT bots. So I usually just troll them, you know, like it's like, send this to my profile and I'll post it. They're trying to get your money. It's scam upon scam upon scam upon scam for artists on Instagram.
Yeah.
And so I don't take Instagram serious at all. I think it's like a joke now for me. And like it's all I get is bots. It's just, so I just trolled them, you know?
Yeah. And of course Rumble has its issues right now with bots, or not bots, but those weird messages you get, like, call me at the WhatsApp, or it's like, so you just delete the comment and go on your day. But yeah, Rumble's not without its issues. But I mean, just look at Twitter X, right? Look at all those bots that were on there, and like
right.
Elon did something, but they came back. So it's like,
maybe it's a problem that you can't really solve. But I just feel like the state of Rumble right now. I'm meeting lots of real people organically, and it's that feels really good. And it feels, that's what used to be happening for me on Instagram. When I was on Instagram for many years, you know, I've made many valuable connections, other creative people, other artists, just generally cool people. And I feel like that's what's happening organically now on Rumble for me. But you know, all the people on Instagram are trapped there. They don't want to leave. They like it there. They're so used to the system.
Yeah.
Even though I feel like it's not really it doesn't have their best interests in mind.
Yeah,
you know,
obviously,
like I don't think it's not really, there's no opportunity for them to build a business there unless you have a gigantic Instagram following. I don't know. I have artist friends who have been on there for over 10 years, and it's like they're not making money on Instagram. Whereas I have this tiny little following on Rumble, and I've already had opportunities. And it's not like I'm working like a full-time job on Rumble.
Yeah.
But you know, to be able to monetize your creative practice and have opportunities and avenues available to you like that has been just such a positive experience for me, and no other platform has ever offered those kinds of things for me.
It's you know, there's no other platform that I know of that does day one monetization, which Rumble does, right? It's like the day you're on. I mean, you can choose, like, if pre-recorded videos, right? You can choose not to monetize them at all.
Yeah.
But when you choose it, you can choose right away. With YouTube, Twitch, all of them, you have to wait. Even Kick, you have to wait until you get a certain amount of people. On Rumble, you can just bam.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, the monthly stuff and all that. But yeah, it's just the other platforms, right? The other social media platforms. In total remark, all social media platforms are sort of this thing we've created to feel more connected, but we've created more distance with that connection, right? But in the essence of building a community or whatever, yes, you can build a community with a lot of people online that you never probably meet, like over across the pond in India, whatever. But at the end of the day, what part of yourself do you give up in order to obtain that, right? No, not the money, likes, whatever, but just the connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's something that's given in the exchange, right? There's nothing in life is free. Just bearing witness. There's nothing in life that's free. But with the content creation stuff, there are a lot of people like right now, if something happened to the electricity or whatever, content creation is done.
Right.
As a whole. Like you forget Rumble or any of these platforms, they're done because there's no way to. There's no way to get your stuff out. So, or if an ISP is messed with, right? If your ISP is messed with by the companies themselves, guess what? You're done.
Yeah.
And so those are two scenarios which I don't think. I mean, if the power goes out, we're all in trouble because there are going to be a lot of people going to turn animalistic very soon.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, a lot of the risks that I see against Rumble, if they play out, we've got bigger problems than Rumble going down.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's more true. Yeah. Otherwise, you can see a lot of breaking houses and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's you try to find, as a content creator, you try to find what fits you. Again, it's like that puzzle piece, right? Like you try to find the puzzle piece that fits, and when it fits, it just feels like it's been there, or the line has been drawn there, and you were just going like this across the line, right? Like it's a straight line, and you were just like all over the place. Why does this look like a disaster highway? It's like I was trying to get there, but it's like straight there. Like sometimes you miss a sign or two.
Well, something that I've been experiencing lately is like a lot of really creative people on Rumble have just been like wandering into my stream.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there is like a hidden underbelly of creativity on Rumble. And it's like, it's bubbling and frothing under the surface.
Yeah.
And it's kind of been like popping up into my stream. Like they'll come in and it's like, oh, somebody's doing art. And I've made some really good connections lately. I just feel like people who are sympathetic to art have been finding me.
Yeah.
And so that's cool. Like that wasn't happening a lot at first because it's like, you're kind of just like broadcasting your little thing out to this big world.
Yeah. But
lately I feel like there's been more creative people following me. And so like, okay, some things keep changing here.
Yeah.
And it's going positive.
Yeah. The updates have been pretty great. There are always setbacks within updates because, testing and whatnot, but now with this algorithm thing, right, that's come out, that will help the field a bit better because now shorts, or what is considered a short, and pre-recorded videos will now have a discoverability they didn't have before, where live streaming is the big thing, right? Like live streaming, you're on live, whatever, but now videos with whatever, pre-recorded videos or edited videos, whatever you want to call it, will now have a chance to be seen by people, because beforehand Rumble didn't have that, right? It was, you bring them in and the people would have to see it themselves, but now anyone on the platform can see, oh, look, there's a Michael video of his stuff, or oh, look, there's a woman who likes cat videos or make kitten videos or whatever, or Uncle Pudge, or all this stuff. The door has now been opened that these things that were once not seen or not being able to be seen by other people, they had to be seen by seen or shared, right, by the people who follow you. Now people who don't follow you could see your stuff, and that will change the game for Rumble. Will it be perfect? Honestly, no, because nothing ever is. But
I'm actually okay with that, because like I'm okay if it's super simple.
Yeah.
Like, we tried the version of the internet where it's super complex and mysterious, and we don't know how all these things are linking together. And it turned out they were basically fucking us. You know, like they were just like using our data against us and like doing weird things and like messing with our heads.
Yeah.
So like actually I'm okay if it's super straightforward and simple, as long as it does like the basic essential kind of things and it starts linking things.
Yeah.
It's okay if it's rudimentary, because at least then we know that it's rudimentary, but it's honest. You know, I kind of like that.
Yeah. And of course, people are going to be kind of leery of like, what's it going to be based on? Who's going to get the views or whatever? How do you? Because they're going to, again, once you start introducing something like that, it's going to be about how to game the system, right?
Right.
People do that for YouTube. They put in the tags, they put in this exciting thing in their thumbnail, whatever. They're going to try to game the system, whether it was before or after. But the point of the matter is like you or I or whatever, we're just doing this thing because we enjoy doing it. There's nothing more complicated than that. Like I've said to other people, like I'm easier than apple pie, because you have to get the ingredients, you have to mix them in a bowl, dry and wet, and then you have to put them all together, and then you have to put it in the oven, and then you have to wait, so and so forth and so on, and then
very difficult.
And like for me, it's like, here are the places to go if you want to come on. You want to come on? Just let me know. We'll set up a date. Done.
It was easy. It was easier than pie.
That's right, easier and easier than that pie too, like 3.14 and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know the rest. There's 2 pies. I'm easier than, all right. That's
right.
Oh my gosh! But yeah, that's the.
Where did you get your what does Daramouth mean? Daramouth.
Daramouth. So. It's made up, but it's based. The naming of it comes from an alcoholic drink, and I bet you can't get.
Like vermouth.
There you go, because of the sounding, right? So it's just a word. It wasn't. I don't drink alcohol. Whatever. I just like the word. It was just a weird word. Vermouth, right? You just sound it out. So the fan account on Twitter X. That's the first iteration of messing around with that word. Then after a while, Darachat became that. Now, obviously, the E is silent, but it still carries that mooth sound from vermouth, right?
Yeah.
So, and I just thought, it looks like mouth, but it's not like that. It's the long O sound.
Well, yeah, it does. It does have mouth in it, and it's it's a speaking. You're doing a speaking platform.
Yeah.
So I thought that came to me.
Yeah, but the thing about it was like when I of the word vermouth, I was like play around with it, and then ended up with Darachat, and it was just like it sounded great. Because one of the things is like when you go to a website or whatever, if you make up a name, sometimes you have to add a number to it, right?
Right.
Stevenson 45, whatever. When I made this one, didn't have to.
Cool.
So I created the thing that I didn't have to add a number to, and I was like.
Yeah, you coined your own word.
I coined my own name, basically, and or username, whatever. And so I use that on the platforms. No one else.
Nice.
Now, obviously, the thing with the fan account is that the account beforehand, I still had to change the user handle was different, but I still changed the name to Darachat. And unfortunately, Twitter X was still playing the game of suspending people for no apparent reason. So I was one of the unlucky ones, and I tried to appeal it as they did, and I got that generic Twitter reserves the right. And I was like, wait, I thought this was X. But anyway, so I got that, and I was asking like, what did I do? What is the recourse? Can I have recourse? So I'm on my 11th or 12th appeal.
Oh my God.
Still the same issue. So it's like I just give up. So
that's a nightmare.
Yeah. So that's why I have the fan account doing the whole laser thing.
Cool.
But yeah, so that's where that's from. But again, that's the vermouth is sort of the first iteration of based upon the word vermouth. And then after a while playing with it, Darachat was after.
Gotcha.
So that's how that that went. I'm glad. I know a lot of people say Dara mouth, but I usually sound it out like Dare moose.
Yeah.
That's how I pronounce it. If or that's how I word it. Word and then the pronunciation follows that. So you dare somebody, you go and then moose the long way. That's like saying moose, but it's moose. That's the thing.
Hmm.
So that's how I describe in saying it, because some people just say Daramoth like you did, and it's fine. I don't care too much, but it's sort of like,
Well, that's why I like to ask. I like to
yeah,
clarify and
yeah, yeah,
understand.
yeah. And now you have come and you have learned Grasshopper, and we have
Indeed,
come to a great place of of understanding.
indeed.
But yeah, so I like it. I know people still have trouble with it, but at the end of the day, it's their moose for all those who are watching. So if you want to know how to pronounce it correctly, that's how you do it. I know it's spelled weird because you have the silent E and you have this mouth thing right here, but at the end of the day, that's how it sounded out. Words are weird. Words are weird. That's we have homonyms for a reason.
Hmm.
Pair of pairs of.
Yeah,
Oh goodness!
it's even harder in Chinese.
Oh, don't know. I'm done. I'm done with it. I'm done now. So anyway, um, it is the top of the hour again. We've had a great time for 2 hours. I think I don't know. I could be speaking out my butt, but anyway. So again, at the top of the every hour, I set a time for promotion. So Michael, do your thing. I'll do mine, and then I think we'll kind of close it out because it's
Sounds
getting,
good.
yeah, I already started seeing us both yawn. I'm like, I think it's time to go to bed. So but anyway, go ahead and do your thing and I'll do mine.
All right. Well, thanks to anybody who's been hanging out and listening to us. My name is Michael Keane. You can find me on Rumble, my favorite platform on earth, and my channel is Making Art. That's Making Art because I am on Rumble making art,
Mm.
and I am on there live streaming. I'm live painting. I am having a grand old artistic creative time on there. So I would love if any of you join my channel, follow me, catch me sometime live,
Mm.
and you can join in the chat, and we can hang out while I'm painting a new painting there. So follow me, Making Art on Rumble.
Mm.
And you can also follow me on Twitter if you want. My handle is Michael Keane Art,
Mm.
which is also my username on Rumble. So I plan on making future channels on Rumble. So if you follow Michael Keane Art on Rumble, you'll see those other channels as well.
Yeah, if only they made the user and channel thing a little less confusing, because that's one of their issues
Yeah.
as well. And of course, his links are down in the description. So even if you can't find it, which I mean, if you have ears and eyes and fingers, I think you should be able to. But if you can't, links are down in the description. So click on them and see where go there. Um,
Yeah, and
I
thank you,
guess.
everybody.
Yeah. Thank you for being on here. So, gotta do mine. Mine. Um, I stream to both YouTube and Rumble. Of course, I've already made my own reasons of why. But I also have a fan account on Twitter X. I've already said why. I have a Discord at Daramoose just for DMing, and then my email. And again, if you want the same kind of opportunity like Michael here has, the great artiste renaissance, or whatever you want to call it, you have the same opportunity as him, and go to any of those two places. Again, the Twitter X fan account, the DM at Discord, or the email right here. Just the email right here. That's the email, and it'll be everything will be in the link in the description below. The opportunity's there. I know I'll still have to chase after people in some manner, but one day I'm hoping to build enough credibility that people want to come to me and say, "Can I come on?" Um, and that's the hope for it. Like again, followers, likes, the donos, the money, whatever. That's a bonus to this ultimate travel, which is having conversations with others about anything. You just saw me and Michael start from talking about art and then going to Instagram and all this other stuff, and we've traveled a far journey across the land.
Yes.
The sands of time have come before. Um, but yeah, if you want the same opportunity, don't hesitate. Don't be afraid. Don't think you're weird or crazy or whatever, because I've had people say the same thing to me before coming on. And I'm like, dude, all we're out doing is having a conversation about anything. And I know that kind of off puts people because they're not sure of like, they're usually like everyone else, right? They ask what the topic is because they've seen other content creators do it. And I'm like, I'm trying to do a little something different. So let's just have fun. You know, the basicness of it. So anyway, Rumble, YouTube at Daramoose, Twitter X fan account, Discord, Discord DM or email, any of those three, or leave a comment in any of the live stream videos or whatever. We can start something up. So don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. Don't wait today. Like you hear the commercials. So, but anyway, thank you, Michael, for being on. I appreciate the time you've given. I know the first time, I know the first time we tried to hook this up, you were still on the partner program, so it's kind of like not today, don't get out, I can't do this. But I'm glad you were able to get you on. Oh, hey, hello, SGATV, thank you. Yeah, we're just ending the show. So, but yes, thank you to Michael. Thank you to all who stopped by and came, whether it be on YouTube or Rumble. I appreciate all of you. And again, you guys just being here, you guys just watching all these different creators and non-creators alike. Our time together gets saved in this remark, and you can watch them over again. I know some are longer than others, some are shorter than others, but you get to watch us converse, whoever it may be, maybe a favorite person or whatever. Like I have Uncle Pudge on, I have Panda Sub 2000 on, I have all these different people on, and we have a great time out of it. So, if you want to know what the show will be like, watch one of those. So anyway, how it's gonna work, Michael? Oh crap! I think did you unmute yourself after the intro video? How did that happen? Okay, so if you want to stay after, that's fine. If you want to leave during the intro video, that's fine too. But of course, we're gonna mute. Gonna play the outro video, which, if you don't know, the artist who created that first one and the other ones, his name is Pogo, Pogo, and he's on YouTube. He has two different channels, Pogo and Pogo Mix. Anyone, if you're out there, if you want to go see it on YouTube, Pogo, he has pretty much all his stuff that he's done on there. He hasn't been on making stuff for a while, but you can go check out his stuff, and he doesn't copyright. So that's why he uses music. It's fun, first of all, but he doesn't copyright people using his stuff as long as it's not in a malicious, sort of tone. So, but anyway,
cool.
Thank you guys. Glad to be here. I gotta figure out which one. Oh, there it is. And we will see you next time. Oh, I gotta mute you and then bye, guys.